Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for July 15th. So let's start with the beginning. There was a lot of reaction to the pendulum saying that that Virginia was not going to turn blue. So there's a couple of explanations. One, I was specifically looking for red states that would turn blue. So the specific question of, is Virginia going to turn blue? You could kind of say the word turn determine the answer, because if it's already blue, then it's not going to turn blue. The other thing that could have happened was that, again, because I was looking for things turning colors, it could have been focused more on West Virginia, who I understand is a much redder, although some people are saying it's actually going purple. So we're just going to revisit them, okay? And a couple of things I just want to say quick. One, a pendulum gives you the most likely answer, okay? It's sort of like it figures out, given the path or trajectory that a situation or circumstance is on, it gives you the most likely answer. Doesn't mean it's positive. It doesn't mean it's 100%. No pendulum, no reader, any of it is ever going to be 100%. We're just, it doesn't work that way when you're dealing with those kinds of energies. So let's start. I'm going to whip through a couple of these because there have been a few more, of course, that were added. But I do caution you that, what it's saying today may very well not be what it is saying, in October. So let's not get discouraged if your state is one that you desperately wish would turn blue. So here we go. Let's start this. I want to start with Indiana. So Pence's state. So that's got to be a pretty darn red state. So I think maybe I'm going to ask. Nope, I'm just going to ask all the questions the exact same way. So is Indiana likely to go blue? Okay, and that's a good solid yes. Interesting. Is West Virginia going to go strongly blue? West Virginia, is that going to go blue? Okay, so that's a no for blue. So West Virginia, is that going to stay or go purple? Wow, and that's a strong yes. Okay, so for those of you who are in West Virginia, that's probably good news. The state with all the controversy, Virginia, as in like Arlington, Virginia, that state that is on the eastern, side of the country. Virginia, is Virginia going to go red? No. Okay. Is Virginia going to go purple? No. Is Virginia going to stay blue? Okay, so there's a yes. So Virginia's okay. Florida. I just want to double check on Florida. Is Florida going blue? Oh yeah, big time. I guess everybody's really done with the stuff that's going on down there. I'm just going to be polite and not go down that path right now. Georgia. Is Georgia going to go blue? Wow, that is like a really strong yes. And Georgia's, that state with Kemp, and so God only knows what shenanigans are going on there. But as of right now, definitely looks like it's going to switch over to blue. Okay, those are the ones I wrote down. New Jersey, North Carolina. Is that going blue? It is. Ohio, blue. Yes. Wisconsin. Yes. Michigan. Yes. Okay. All right, let's leave that at that. And this is something I will continue to revisit sort of on an ongoing and regular basis because, like I said, given the energy and certainly the way the people of the state are reacting to the way their state is handling the virus situation is going to play a massive and important role in whether a state shifts or doesn't shift. Okay, so there we have that for now. So I actually want to do a couple of mini readings here. So the first thing I want to look at is I want to do a mini reading on Georgia because, you know, Kemp got in by absolutely corrupt means. And I think a lot of people were really, really disappointed that he did get in. A lot of people in Georgia, I think, have been appalled by some of the voting shenanigans that are going on. Oh, that reminds me. I got a really interesting comment in my comment section. I believe it was from the last video. And this person was saying that it's really, really important that you guys keep on checking your voter registration because this lifelong Democrat ended up somehow on the voter polls listed as a Republican. So super important that that is something that you guys need to pay attention to down there and make sure you're on top of that. And the other thing that I just want to mention is that we know that Trump does this. We know Trump does certain things. So he knows in his head he is going to pardon or commute or whatever it was he was thinking he was doing Roger Stone's sentence. Okay? So what does he do? All of a sudden he comes out like a tornado, yelling and screaming about how schools have to be opened in September, and he's going to apply maximum pressure on everybody who won't do that. And in fact, he's gonna cut back funding. Okay, great, you said that. So you just proved kind of how stupid you are, Trump, because from what I understand, the federal government only contributes about 8% to education. It is the school boards that make those decisions and the governors who make those decisions. I again repeat that I think I would not be surprised if there were like lawsuits started to push back against any governors who are really pushing to open those schools, in the next handful of weeks. So it was the perfect distraction is sort of my point, right? We know he does this when, he's going to dump something into the media that he thinks is not going to go well. And certainly he darn well knew that wasn't going to go well because he was getting such significant pushback from his inner circle. So what does he do? He goes on a rant about something that endangers people, or he goes on a rant about things that are just somehow ethically and morally like twisted. And we have 3.5 years of this, okay? So keep that in mind. I understand the panic. I understand the worry, and it's justified, absolutely. But let's try to not overreact. Remember, energetically, I am convinced that part of the reason that Trump actually ended up winning last time is because energy is energy. It is neither good nor it is bad. But if you have a whole bunch of people who are piling on negative energy about Trump, that energy still attracts to him. Okay. And that's what you want to be really careful about. That's why I'm always harping on you to stay really positive and stay in a good place. Because energetically, if we're not paying attention to what we're thinking and how we're reacting, we really can be sort of aiding and abetting the enemy, if you will. Okay. So just be mindful of that. All right. Quick. I want to take a look at Georgia. I'm going to take a look at Trump, because his campaign is floundering so badly. And we'll see. I might take a look at voter interference, maybe. We'll see how that's going. All right. Get focused, Cindy. Here we go. I have a question. Come on down. Okay, let's start with Georgia. 2020 election, Georgia. 2020 election, Georgia. 2020 election, Georgia. Now, I don't know if your governors get reelected every 2 years or every 4 years. I don't know how that works. And so I literally, as I'm sitting here, I don't know if Kemp is actually up for being reelected. I don't know if he is on the ballot come November 2020. I simply don't know. Okay, but these cards are saying this, that what has been going on in Georgia will come to a stop. Now, it's going to change, right? That's what death is. It's about, something coming to conclusion and something new, a rebirth. But behaviors that were not appropriate, frankly, that kind of stuff is going to notice that it's sort of getting clamped down on. Now, it's not going to come without a lot of hard work. There needs to be a real push to ensure that the voter rolls are accurate, that you're on the voter roll, that you guys can vote safely. So there's a lot of work to be done in Georgia, but it's going to be done. So this is kind of the energy. It feels like with group work, there's going to be, success. There's going to be reason for your state to start celebrating. It's going to feel, frankly, more like home to more of you, okay? Because maybe finally your wishes are going to be respected. So, I don't know. Do we think maybe that even if Kemp has to stay in, that whoever is on the down ballot around him is going to weaken his position when they get in? I'm not sure, but definitely, it looks like there's a significant change coming. And things that were obscured, things that were sort of hidden behind smoke and mirrors, are going to start surfacing. They're going to come to the forefront. And it's not that these things have been ignored up until now, but it's that the noise around them, the people paying attention to dirty politics in terms of voting, that sort of is starting to build momentum, and the people in Georgia are really quite determined to make a decision that puts their needs, wants, and intentions ahead. And frankly, out of the reach of a system that they want to leave. They want the system that's in place to simply walk away. And it looks like there's going to be something to be happy about. It really does. It looks like, you're going to be able to move that state in a way that is more reflective, frankly, of the people who live in that state. And as the state sits now, it is going to suffer heartbreak because there's a change of fortune coming for Georgia. So I don't know, but it always strikes me that in some ways Georgia's probably one of those states, and the whole voter situation is incredibly corrupted. And they've been allowed to get away with stuff, but it just doesn't feel like this time they're going to be able to get away with it. And again, this is the thing you got to remember. It's about winning by a tsunami. Okay, because you want to make sure that there's no doubt in anybody's mind about what you want for your state, and that applies to every state. Okay, next one. Let's take a look at how Trump is doing. So I saw this really funny I thought it was funny headline this morning. I think it was on my NBC news feed, maybe. But what the statement was, it's really hard to push back against vanilla. So what they're saying is Trump can't find traction because he's up against Biden, and Biden is vanilla, right? He doesn't have any big crises. You may like him or not like him. You may disapprove of some of the votes or whatever. But compared to Trump, he is like that calm sea of sanity. And because of that, Trump is having a really, really hard time kind of grasping on to something that he can push back against Biden. And meanwhile, Biden's out there releasing his program or his plan for the economy and for infrastructure and for this and for that. So Trump just continues to look more and more disconnected, more delusional, more out of lockstep with his own party. So, I don't know. How's he doing? There are reports out that he is actually depressed. He is really bummed out. He is starting to recognize that he may really, really not get elected. And he is also starting to realize that because of his behavior and the behavior of his senators in particular, they're not going to do well either. Let's take a look at Trump, shall we? Trump current state, Trump current state, Trump current state. Oh, sorry, come on down. Okay, so, oopsie, I'll get these cards, because these cards in particular are telling a story. Okay, so, he is having a really hard time understanding why what worked before, isn't working for him now. He's really stuck on trying to repeat 2016 because in some ways he sees that almost like as the miracle of his life, okay? And so, of course, if you've had a miracle, and you're him, instead of accepting the miracle was the miracle and it just doesn't automatically repeat, he just wants it to repeat. And he thinks that if he does exactly the same things that he did in 2016, that's going to work for him. The problem is the people who bought into what he was saying in 2016 are no longer the people who are supporting him. Right? He's losing the evangelicals and the stronger religious-based people. He is losing suburbans. He is losing the highly educated. Well, that's good English, Cindy. The higher educated, the college degree crowd. So he's losing people like everywhere. And in his head, he is trying to relive the glory of capturing the government by trying to recreate what worked. And he is in that bubble, and they can't get him to come out of the bubble. So he understands that he's not in good shape. He understands that things are a little bit dicey here, but he just can't seem to find a new track. He can't figure out a way to go after Biden. His numbers are terrible, and apparently they are saying that as bad as the poll numbers are that the public receives, the internal poll numbers for Trump's reelection campaign are absolutely horrible. They're actually worse than the 8, 10, 12% that he is leading or that he is following Biden. Apparently, their internal polling is even worse than that. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress he's feeling, and the more he feels that, the more he does that sort of double down and push back thing. And of course, here we have the Fool sitting here being the Fool. So right now, he remains in the bubble. He's not in a good place mentally. He understands that literally he's going to be left out in the cold. He understands that whatever fortune smiled on him 4 years ago is not going to smile on him this time around. He cannot get this thing to move forward. And honestly, he is so terrified of any more stuff coming out that illuminates him or his behavior. And of course, you've got the Bolton book, which everybody's reading, but nobody's buying. And the Mary Trump book, which I think everybody's reading and probably everybody's buying. So this is the kind of stuff that it makes him crazy when this stuff comes out. And more of it's coming. And so he's just in trouble. He's just in trouble. Okay. So again, let's not give Trump a whole lot of our negative or worry-like emotion. And for some of you who are new to this channel, this is sort of a picture that worked really, really well, or makes people feel better and encourages the right positive energy. So when you're getting really stressed and you're getting upset, and Trump's done one more thing that's incredibly stupid and dangerous and ill-informed, and the list goes on and on. I want you to picture the White House, and I want you to picture a big broom. You know, the kind that you used to, the straw brooms? We're going to put a big red, white, and blue bow on that thing, and we're going to suspend that broom above the White House. And we are going to sweep, sweep, sweep everything that's in the White House out so that we can welcome the new, okay? So don't focus on, I want him gone. What you want to focus on is we're sweeping the White House clean so the new can enter. That's the focus. That's how you want your energy to be looking like, feeling like, as you are contemplating kind of the election going forward and kind of the insanity that's going on now, okay? So keep that in mind. Let's take a quick look at election interference. So, we know China's involved, we know Russia's involved, and that is part of the reason why, the push to make this a tsunami win, never mind a blue wave win, it has to be huge, because you kind of almost want to ensure that it doesn't kind of matter what's going on. There's going to be a way to sort of stop it. And you can do that by sheer numbers, right? So let's take a look. I don't know if I'm going to get specific information here, but I want to just take a look overall at election interference and what that might be looking like. And one more. Here we go. Come on down. Okay, so 2020 election interference, 2020 election interference, 2020 election interference, and that, of course, is both domestic and foreign. Okay, so these These are the two that wanted to stay on the bottom, so we're taking a look at them. So you have the Two of Swords, which is about literally the election, right? It's about people making a decision, people making a choice. And this is about the attempt to try to maintain the status quo, trying to maintain the situation as it currently is. So that means not a lot of attention being paid to the actual interference, not a lot of attention being paid to what's going on state by state. No, kind of no focus on, just sort of, they just want to push through and repeat the win that they had in 16 because of the interference. And you know what? That's what they're hanging on to. But they're really starting to become aware of the fact that the election is about people making choices. And because you have a country, by and large, really doesn't like what they see going on, that's sort of telling us something there. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Okay, so we've got that quid pro quo thing going on. Okay, not surprising at all. Okay, so the quid pro quo is alive and well, and it is alive and well within the government institutions. It is not only Trump. There are senators, there are council people or Congress people. But there's a lot of this quid pro quoing stuff going on, okay? And it sort of is at all levels of the government, because those people who have nothing else, again, they're trying to hang on to whatever it is they can hang on to. So you not only have this interference coming from outside, but you have it coming from inside as different states start to literally assess and figure out how to make things secure, how to shore up the defenses, how to create an environment where they can try to repeat, okay? But the Wheel of Fortune sitting here is interesting. Okay, so it's going to take some hard work, but you know what? People are up and ready for the hard work challenge, okay? Whether that is writing your congressman or your senator, or whether that is stuffing envelopes at, I don't know, a election center, if there's election centers actually going to be open the way traditionally they have been. But it's going to take work. But you guys are up for the work. This change of fortune for the interference is we're going to find out that there are some stuff that's actually been put in place really quietly. Okay. But there are protections that are going to be in place. That's not to say it's going to be eliminated. It isn't. But definitely there are practices and walls kind of being put in place. Ultimately, the rule of law, ultimately that which is right will have the might, and that will create that incredible change of fortune. And ultimately, it's going to prove, in some cases, there's going to actually be long-term corrections made on a state-by-state level. The other thing I just want to mention, if you guys hadn't heard, I was just about to talk. Okay, so this card reflects it perfectly. I'm going to stop rambling. Apparently, so there's two things that are going on. Republicans are now trying to wear masks because I make it look like it was their idea and they're on top of it. The people who they had been screaming at to not wear masks, the masks were stupid and this was a flu bug and everybody was overreacting. Well, you know what? They're still believing that narrative. And now they're actually pushing back against Republicans who are wearing masks. So I guess that didn't work out so well for him. The other thing that is apparently really not working out so well for them is that Republicans, because of all the talk about, you know, the rigged elections and hoaxes and, you know, the fraud of mail-in ballots, well, apparently Republicans are now starting to really, they're sort of having this mentality that, well, if it's a mail-in ballot, I'm just not going to vote because I've been told by my government, who I absolutely trust, even though they've started wearing masks, that mail-in ballots are corrupt, they're a hoax, they're lies. So, two of the things that were going on actually, you know, they were coming out of the Republican Party in a way to sort of stop Democrats. What they're now finding is, in fact, that it is stopping the very Republicans that they need and require. And those southern states that are blue now, who are not having a good pandemic response, trust me, it's really going to backfire. It really is going to backfire. Yeah, you know what? They're up. You know, they're up to try to steal the election. There's no point sugarcoating it. That's what they're going to try to do, but it's just not going to work. It's really just not going to work. So this sort of is the same thing. I feel like what I said for the 2018 midterms, which was they're going to come to the door. And the door's going to get cracked open, but the United States will have at least enough protection in place so that they don't welcome them in with a welcome mat. Okay, so be vigilant. Make sure you keep checking your voter registration. Do whatever you can do from wherever you are to really encourage mail-in ballots, because that's going to be really important. But, you know, take comfort from the fact, right? Things are changing. And the more entrenched Trump, and by extension his Republicans, become stuck in these attitudes that just everybody and their uncle can see is just unbelievably wrong, they're going to continue to lose, you know, support. And honestly, it's early days yet, right? I mean, we're only in the middle of July. So there's a lot of time for even more independents and even more Republicans, especially the Republicans who are still really stuck to Trump, to start pulling away. I every time I look at this and I ask about it, Trump, in fact, is holding about 25% support across the board, across the country. Not 35, not 40, not 45%, 25. And I think a lot of those people right now in those red states in particular who are saying they're going to for sure vote for Trump, I think that's more a matter of saving face than it is about what really they think they're going to do. And of course, whatever you do in the ballot box is confidential. So maybe they don't need to save face when they're actually in the ballot box. Okay, quickly. Dr. Fauci, this is just energetic. Dr. Fauci is going to be okay. Again, the smear campaign against Fauci is backfiring. Okay, you've got 1/3 of the country who thinks they should listen to Trump, and 2/3 of the country who are like, yeah, Fauci's the only guy we're actually listening to because he's the only one who knows what the heck's going on and he's talking about it. Again, more and more people are, you know, tuning into that John Hopkins website where they're tracking stuff. So I think Fauci is going to be okay. It feels as if they're pulling back on the Fauci attack just because it blew up right in their face. Okay, so stay positive. Hang in there. It's going to be a bumpy week, but I kind of got a feeling that this week compared to last week and next week is going to look like the calmer one, which is terrifying, but energetically, that's what I'm getting. Again, thank you so very much for all of your support. It's amazing, and I'm so grateful. Comment, like, subscribe, share. It all helps. Thank you so much for that. Until next time, take care, be well. Bye-bye.